The Mask of the Red Death. The Red Death had been in the country for many, many years. No disease had ever been so deadly. People called it the Red Death because it left blood, red, horrible blood, on the body and face of each person it visited. And no one, if visited, was ever left alive. Once a person was touched by the Red Death, he immediately felt pains, and soon afterwards started to bleed from every part of his body. In 30 minutes, he was dead. After that, no one, not even his family, went near the blood-covered body. Everybody was afraid of the Red Death. Everybody except the fearless Prince Prospero. He refused to be troubled by it. Although half the people of his country had already died from this terrible disease, he continued to enjoy life to the full. One day, he decided to invite 1,000 of his strong and brave friends to stay with him in one of his castles, far out in the countryside. There, the Red Death would not be able to touch them. It was a huge and extraordinary castle, built to Prince Prospero's own plan. It had strong, high walls and great gates of heavy metal. Now, when the prince and his friends arrived at the castle gates, they went inside, locked the gates carefully, and threw away the keys. In that way, no one would be able to enter or escape. They were all there together, far away from the Red Death. Now they could forget the world outside and think only of themselves. They had everything they needed to amuse themselves because the prince had forgotten nothing. He had brought in food and wine, actors, musicians, and dancers. All of this, and life itself, was inside the castle. Outside lay the Red Death. Towards the end of the 5th or 6th month, while the Red Death was at its most deadly outside, the prince gave a wonderful masked ball for his friends. It was a wild and wonderful ball. But first, let me tell you about the rooms in which he gave the ball. There were 7 rooms in all.
The first room, for example, was blue, and so its windows were also a deep blue. The second room was purple, and so the windows too were purple. The third room was green, with green windows, the 4th orange, the 5th white, and the 6th violet. The 7th room was black. Its walls were black, and its heavy carpet was also black. But its windows were red, a deep blood red. There were no candles in any of the rooms. The only light came from fires in hanging metal baskets which were in the passages outside the rooms. This was the black room. In that room, the firelight that shone through the blood-red window changed the room into something too horrible to describe. Few people were brave enough to enter the room at all. In this room stood a huge black clock. Every hour it chimed loud and deep and clear, filling the castle with its long, gloomy sound. And while the clock chimed, the musicians stopped playing, and even the dancers stood still in silence and fear, listening to the passing of another hour. But when the chiming stopped, people looked at each other and laughed, ha ha, trying hard to pretend that they had not been frightened. Happiness came into the castle again, until the clock chimed the passing of the next hour, and the same fear returned.
Bueno, chicos, hasta aquí la primera parte de la historia, The Mask of the Red Death. Hasta el momento conocemos los personajes, nos encontramos con el gran Prince Prospero, conocemos su personalidad, sabemos que organiza un evento, organiza una fiesta de máscaras en un gran castillo de su propiedad, donde invita entonces a sus mejores amigos, todos de la alta sociedad, para huir de esta gran peste que acecha la ciudad. ¿Podrá Prince Prospero vencer a la peste que acecha la ciudad? The Red Death será quien gane. ¿Qué piensan, chicos? ¿Quién gana luego de una gran peste como esta? Los invito a continuar leyendo y disfrutar de esta gran obra de Edgar Allan Poe. Bye, bye, bye.